Two strangers walk toward each other. One extends their hand. The other starts to wave, changes direction into a fist bump, briefly considers a hug, then notices the waiting hand too late. For 1 second, both people are trapped inside an international summit about where their arms should go. The handshake finally happens at the wrong angle, with the wrong timing, and somehow both people pretend this was normal. It is an awkward gesture. It is physically unnecessary. It can spread germs, and the moment you consciously think about it, even moving your hand starts to feel complicated. Yet this brief grip remains one of the clearest symbols of greeting, agreement, cooperation, and legitimacy. So why do we shake hands? The popular explanation is wonderfully simple. People supposedly extended their empty right hands to prove they were not holding weapons. The shaking motion may even have been used to dislodge knives inside sleeves. It is memorable, visual, and suspiciously perfect. It is also difficult to prove. The idea is plausible. Most people are right-handed, and weapons were often carried in the dominant hand. Showing that hand could communicate temporary vulnerability. But historians have not found the first handshake, the first inventor, or the meeting notes from the day humanity officially designed saying hello. The real history is less tidy. Hand clasping has meant different things in different places and periods. It could represent alliance, agreement, friendship, farewell, reconciliation, family connection, social access, or a formal oath. A clasp between rulers was not the same as a casual greeting between neighbors. A hand held at a funeral did not mean the same thing as a handshake before a business deal. That makes the gesture difficult to trace. People document coronations, wars, laws, and executions. They rarely leave detailed instructions explaining how they greeted someone on an uneventful Tuesday. Historians have to reconstruct the story from artworks, legal records, conduct manuals, letters, literature, and accidental descriptions. One of the oldest known depictions of two rulers joining hands comes from the 9th century before the Common Era. It shows the Assyrian king Shalmaneser III and the Babylonian king Marduk-Zakir-Shumi I clasping hands in connection with an alliance. This was not two ancient executives greeting each other before a quarterly meeting. It was a political image. The hand clasp communicated recognition, cooperation, or pledged agreement. The gesture mattered because both rulers were shown participating in the same visible bond. Ancient Greek funerary monuments also frequently show two people clasping right hands. Museums describe these scenes with the term dexiosis. Depending on the object and context, the gesture may represent farewell, continuing connection, family bonds, or the relationship between the living and the dead. But these images do not prove that every Greek casually shook hands as a daily greeting. They show that right hand clasping carried emotional and social meaning. Later Roman imagery also used clasped hands in connection with marriage, fidelity, friendship, and agreement. So the gesture existed long before the modern office handshake, but it was often solemn, symbolic, and tied to a specific relationship. The next question is how a gesture used for alliances, funerals, and vows became something performed before job interviews and mildly uncomfortable meetings. In early modern Europe, greetings were structured by rank. A lower status person might bow, kneel, curtsy, uncover the head, or kiss a superior's hand. These gestures did more than acknowledge another person. They displayed who stood above whom. Handshaking could express friendship, brotherhood, peace, reconciliation, or mutual agreement, but it was not always an ordinary greeting. Who offered the hand, who accepted it, and who was allowed to refuse could still communicate status and access. Then came the Quakers. Members of the Society of Friends rejected many conventional displays of hierarchy. They used plain forms of address and resisted bowing or curtsying to social superiors. They also shook hands with one another as a more direct and reciprocal form of greeting. The Quakers did not invent the handshake. They helped normalize and popularize it as an egalitarian ritual. Merchants also mattered. As cities, commerce, travel, and business relationships expanded during the 18th and 19th centuries, people needed social rituals that could move easily between encounters. The handshake was quick, reciprocal, and compatible with agreement-making. Historical research on Britain between roughly 1700 and 1850 suggests that Quaker communities and mercantile networks both helped spread the greeting. It did not simply move downward from aristocrats, it spread upward, downward, and sideways through an urbanizing society. An elaborate system of hats, knees, bows, and curtsies was gradually supplemented by the more efficient practice of briefly compressing another person's fingers. The most important feature of the handshake is not really the shaking, it is reciprocity. Both people perform roughly the same action. Neither person must kneel, neither must kiss the other's hand. Each person offers access and accepts the other's offer. For a moment, both bodies enter one coordinated movement. That does not make every handshake genuinely equal. Power still affects who initiates it, who may refuse, how long it lasts, and who controls the motion. A politician can pull someone closer. A superior can ignore an offered hand. A dominant participant can turn an apparently equal ritual into a performance of control. Cultural and religious norms also matter. Not everyone uses handshakes, values firm contact, or considers touch appropriate in the same situations. Refusing one does not automatically signal disrespect. The handshake did not eliminate hierarchy. It dramatized mutual recognition, even when the relationship around it remained unequal. A handshake is a tiny agreement performed with the body. Modern research suggests that this agreement affects how people interpret one another. In one study involving 112 participants, trained observers rated handshake characteristics with some consistency. Those ratings were associated with personality measures and with impressions observers formed. That does not mean grip strength reveals someone's true character. A handshake is not a portable morality scanner. It means the gesture contributes to the social information people use when forming impressions. Other research has found that seeing a handshake before an interaction can improve evaluations of approaching behavior and reduce some negative reactions to avoidant behavior. Studies of negotiation have also found that handshaking can signal cooperative intent and influence cooperation and deal-making within specific experimental settings. The effect comes from the ritual and the expectations around it, not from a mystical property hidden in the palm. Then there is the stranger possibility. A study published in 2015 covertly observed 271 participants. After some handshakes, people increased hand-to-face behavior. The researchers proposed that handshakes might transfer chemical signals that people later sample through smell. This does not prove that humans invented handshaking to smell one another. It is an intriguing hypothesis, not a settled origin story. Still, apparently, the professional greeting may include secretly smelling the other person later, because civilization is mostly good branding. So why do we shake hands? Not because one person invented the gesture for one reason, and not because every handshake has always meant the same thing. We shake hands because an ancient family of hand-clasping rituals gradually accumulated meanings of alliance, recognition, trust, friendship, agreement, and access. Later social changes, especially commerce and movements that preferred less deferential forms of greeting, helped turn the clasp into an ordinary ritual. The empty hand weapon theory remains plausible but unproven. The Quakers helped popularize the handshake, but they did not invent it. And the gesture is not universal, neutral, or automatically equal. Now return to the awkward moment at the beginning. One hand is still suspended in the air, waiting for the other person to decide whether this is a handshake, fist bump, wave, or diplomatic incident. That hand is not just an oddly formal limb, it is an invitation to perform a brief social agreement together. 3,000 years of social engineering, and we still miss the timing. Subscribe for more strange histories hidden inside ordinary behavior. And tell me in the comments which greeting creates the most confusion: a handshake, fist bump, hug, cheek kiss, or the catastrophic combination of all four.